Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Life Theories. We've got my good friends Cortez from Spiritual Needs TV here with us, and Diana from Trailblazers of the Universe. We'll be chatting with you, whoop, 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 today, and getting into some topics on spirituality, some of the trials and tribulations and things that we've experienced in our path to spiritual growth, some of the things that we've done and practiced to get ourselves to where we are today in our spiritual health and wellness, how we got to where we are today, some of the things that we've done.
About the crazy energies that we were feeling.
The
solar flares and just how we've been feeling these energies and how it's been affecting us on an individual level.
Yeah. So that ties in with, like where we've been, where we've come from, how we've gotten here, and what's going on today. So
I wanted to talk about that a lot because we've all come so far, every single one of us, and probably every single one of you that are watching this video as well. We've literally all have come so far, and it's easy to look at the person we are now and just to think like we have always been like this, and that is so much further from the truth. We have literally done the inner work with what is needed, which is very scary as well, because it's facing demons, it's facing things that you don't want to face. And once you come out the other side of it, and I say the other side, it's a constant development of your personal growth, so it never ends, but there comes a point where you become peaceful within yourself and you become happy with the little things in life and what you actually have without needing any external thing to make you feel a certain way. So there becomes a point on your spiritual awakening path where you actually are just at peace with yourself and you love yourself, genuinely love yourself. And I don't mean in an egotistic way, I mean in a healthy way where you don't talk down to yourself and you can forgive yourself from what you've done in the past or your flaws. So yeah, it's just important just to be gentle with yourself and just realize that everyone has, I don't know, you can call them demons. Everyone has emotional traumas that they've experienced growing up, and we're all healing on a different process. Sort of, we are all healing at different rates, is what I'm trying to say. So just be gentle with yourself and just know you're the shit. Sorry, I just want to put it in there.
Well, we all have like what you were saying there. We all have like a shadow self, and we all have parts of ourselves that, maybe we're not happy with, maybe we want to change, maybe we want to improve upon. And having these things that you need to improve upon doesn't mean that you're a bad person or you're doing something wrong. It just means you have to take the time to put some awareness into yourself and put some awareness into the things that you do, your habits, your practices, the way you think, act, and feel, and just put a little bit more focus and awareness into that to see where your shadows are and where you could use the most healing for yourself, because everybody's healing journey, like Cortez said, is different. And trying to compare your healing journey to somebody else's can actually be quite detrimental in the process, because we all have different demons. We all have different things we need to heal from. And even if we have similar things we need to heal from, that doesn't necessarily mean the same practice or the same energetic thing is going to be what's right for both people. Somebody might need, say, a week in Costa Rica doing ayahuasca and plant medicines to really dig through their demons, but somebody else could potentially really harm themselves in doing something like that. And they need to go a little bit slower, and they need to, work with either a therapist or spiritual healers or many layers of those types of practitioners to get to the bottom of their problems. So just because there might be two people suffering from, let's say, drug addiction, what works for to heal one might not might not work to heal the other. So it's about not being hard on yourself or comparing yourself to other people's healing journey and other people's growth, because we are all so different. So,
which I think that is it's normal in our society today, is to compare ourselves to other people, what other people have.
We're almost conditioned to compare ourselves.
We are very conditioned to view our lives more or less than others. And I think that awareness becomes a lot more stronger the more you develop along your spiritual awakening path. It becomes a lot more easy to pick up, and you don't worry about that sort of stuff after a while. It's you sort of develop like a spiritual armor around yourself, and you're never alone as well on this path. You're never alone, and having faith and a belief in something is what's kept me going on this journey, because it gets tough. It gets tough sometimes, especially with all these solar flares coming in, and being able to integrate that energy within our bodies. And that is a process in itself that is going to knock you off guard if you are not really knowing of this sort of stuff. You're just going to think you've just been a moody fucker all week. You're just going to think you have no energy. You're just a lazy. Do you know what I mean? Where initially there's deeper things happening within inside of you, and it's just becoming aware of that and being gentle with yourself, and just knowing there's a metamorphosis happening, and you do have control over what you focus on and what you feed yourself, what you feed your mind, what you feed your body, your spirit. So it's times like now, these are the most important times where we need to be looking after ourselves. Even if it's just drinking more water. I pronounce that properly. Everyone cousins me for that. So
it's all good.
I think and also depending on the level of transformation, like for me, I can just relate with the whole substance addiction thing. You know, that addiction, that was a manifestation of what was going on inside of me. It's like my whole lifestyle needed to change. It wasn't just one thing. It's not just, it was like the physical, you know, I went to a holistic facility, right, for like 4 months, and it was holistic, and I learned it's not just, you know, with that, it's not just quitting something. It's not just taking something. There's a lot of going on underneath. So you need to work on, everything's connected, right? The spirituality, your mental, emotional, physical, all that's connected. So I had to make, so even there, like we ate healthier food. You know, there's certain foods we weren't supposed to eat there. You know, like we were doing a whole metamorphosis, right? We were exercising more. We were working. We were going deep into like deep even trauma and like just issues even with our parents, how we grew up, our beliefs, even anger, like we did so much work, and I learned so much from that, because I didn't realize, you know, I just thought, and I think that's especially with people with addiction. I think that's why people often end up relapsing, and that's any kind of addiction, but you know, I was talking more substance, but they're not, there's a lot of underlying issues. Everything is connected, so you make a change in one area, you know, so sometimes you make a change in one, but the rest aren't in line, you know, so it's like, it's not very like even out. So to make that big of a metamorphosis, I just think a little more is needed, and you have to be willing, you know, it's okay to ask for help. We want to do things on our own, and we're comparing stuff. It's okay if you don't know how, you know, I mean, some people say all the answers are within, but sometimes you need help, man. Sometimes it's okay to be help and to get help and be vulnerable, and awareness is the key to change. So first, if you even have an awareness, you know, not beating yourself up, even if you do mess up, go back into old behaviors. We're changing years of patterns of think about the neurochemistry in your brain. You know what I mean? Those are years of, and this is just anything. I'm not even talking about addiction, but anytime you're making a change, you're changing like belief patterns, like behavior patterns, everything, stuff you learn from a kid, stuff you saw from parents in school. Like it's a lot. So we need to not beat ourselves up. You mess up, okay, you get back up and try again, and you keep doing that new behavior, that new thought, that new feeling. You know, it's like repetition. And people they beat themselves up, and then they compare themselves. I'm like, man, you don't know what someone else is going through anyway. But you just got to keep having an awareness. Like even me, you know, even though I went through all that, there's still a lot of emotional things I'm dealing with that are residual, and I still get triggered by things. You know, no one's perfect. We're still humans. and it's okay. And sometimes when we get high in the spiritual thing, right, we like beat ourselves up and like, oh, I'm more spiritual than this. Oh, I should be more healed than this. But it's like in spirals. But just being aware that you acted that way, or hey, you know what? I'm starting to feel like this again, or I'm thinking with this again. What's going on? You're looking for why am I feeling? And it's kind of just like taking a step back and just kind of questioning where is this coming from. I think that's important too.
Yeah, it's really important to when you notice that you're starting to slip back into old patterns or old habits or even old like mindsets and old like thought patterns. It's really important to catch yourself and have the level of awareness within yourself to be like, oh, okay, this emotion is starting to overwhelm me. Where is it coming from? Is this coming from something I've experienced? Is this coming from energies I'm picking up from the collective? Is this something that, I'm holding on to that's like come up from my past that I need to work through? And just starting to, take a moment to take a few deep breaths and really like ask yourself, where is this coming from and how can I work through this? Rather than allowing yourself to get consumed by the sadness or overwhelm, because that's when, if you don't catch yourself, that's when you can fall into deeper depressions. That's when you can, fall really like off the wagon if you're using drugs, if you're like using alcohol or any type of substances. If you don't take the time to build up that level of self-awareness, it's a lot easier to just get consumed by the negative emotions and fall back into, like you said, the old patterns and the things that are maybe not so healthy or good for our spiritual growth 100%. Or physical.
Like I was, and healing can come in so many different forms. I was explaining to Diana the other day because she was telling me I need to relax and chill out.
Can I take my own advice? Because I struggle with the same thing. I have energy, I have all this, but I'm like, my body's like, nah, man, my body cannot keep up with my mind. My mind's way too fast for my body. The body's not going to win on that one. It's not going to win.
So true. It is. That is just literally how I would explain it, right?
Yeah.
And he said, and I did, and I finished work the other day and I just come home, I sat in my bed and I was just laying there, just breathing by myself. I was just looking out the window and it was nice and windy and I was just so present, right? And a thought come to me, and it was when I was working in a children's home and I remember the person I was working with, he was like a senior. And I remember I'd done something and I had upset him. And so he was angry with me. Because I was quite close to him, it upset me and I started to cry, right? But it was weird because I was like, why is this coming up? And I realized that I was holding on to this energy still of that when at that specific point of when it happened. And I went back there in my mind and I sat with that Cortez then and I forgive. And I just had to sit there and just forgive this guy for making me feel like that, because I was still carrying around that energy, that hate, that I wouldn't say hate because I wouldn't go that far, but I was still carrying around that energy and I had not released it yet. But the moral of the story is, when your mind is so erratic and this 24-hour running commentary, it's a lot harder to hear the voice of God. That's what I refer to it as, because you will hear those little whispers in your voice telling you to go this way or do it this way. Do you know what I mean? So that little healing moment for me, when I realized that I was holding on to that and I let it go, I literally felt the energy shift off of me. And I felt so much lighter. And it just took something at so little, like laying in your bed and looking out the window. Do you know what I mean? And I wasn't even looking for healing of any sort, but it just come to me. Yeah. And it's crazy how when you are tapped in to your higher self, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, whoever you refer to, when you're tapped into that source, everything seems to fall into place once you get the flow. Once you start to operate from the level that you should be operating in, everything starts to fall into place. And I am living proof, I kid you not, the past 50 something days of my life, as you lot know, I've been retaining, right? My life's changed dramatically inside that I can't even describe, sort of thing. And it's just little things, little practices, little disciplines throughout the day that you need to just continue to do it. And then before you know it, you're at a place that you amaze yourself if you just stay disciplined to those little things that you know you want to do or should be doing, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing with me, right? Like for a long time, I was spending a ridiculous amount of money trying to stay healthy and go to naturopath appointments and take all the supplements and do all of the IV therapies and do the stem cell boosters and PRP treatments. I was doing...
You're doing everything. You're doing bits.
It literally was costing me $4,000 a month.
Wow.
To do what I was doing to try to stay healthy and get out of the wheelchair. And I got to a point where obviously I couldn't afford that anymore. And the charitable donations I was getting from a friend's company, they had to come to an end. And I was sort of at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do because without spending the $4,000 a month, I was falling apart. If I didn't spend that much money on my health, I felt like garbage. And I felt like I was going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, which I really didn't want. So I sat and I had a really, really good cry. And I just sat with myself and I asked, what can I do? What is it that I can do to get myself to a place that I can stay healthy without spending this much money? How can I do this? And then I fell asleep crying that night and woke up the next day. And two things happened to me. One, I felt an extreme urge to book an acupuncture appointment, which felt odd to me because that's spending more money. But at the acupuncture appointment, my practitioner actually told me about another practitioner who I ended up spending even more money on. But he taught me different techniques on how to heal myself using my breath and my mindset. And later on that day, after I had booked that appointment, I was sitting on my couch and just kind of like what you said, looking out the window, breathing. And all of a sudden I got an insane urge. Like it almost felt like a download in my brain to just like turn on YouTube and search how to heal yourself with your own mind. And that's what I did. And ever since then, I haven't spent nearly any money on my health. And I've been using the practices that I learned from the person that my acupuncturist introduced me to, and from the people that I still follow on YouTube now that teach you how to use mindset and different thought pattern techniques to train yourself into healthy thinking. And that's keeping my body healthier than it's ever been before. And all it took was taking a moment. Now, it took a little bit of a breakdown, but I had a breakdown. And then I had my moment after my breakdown asking for help. And then I took a moment of clarity and just breathed. And the information came to me. You can do this. Just look this up. There is information out there for you on how to do this. And I haven't gone back. And I'm really, really happy that I did that.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. And now I'm at a point where the only money I spend on my health is like the occasional acupuncture and massage appointment and my supplements. And that's it. So it's not even anywhere near $4,000 anymore. And I'm still doing really good. So.
Well, I believe if we were taught how to heal yourself in the schooling education system, then and we wouldn't have a lot of these issues and problems.
Let me tell you, my life would have been so different if that was the case. Oh yeah, because I always knew when I was a kid that I could, but I was always told, like, my heart and my soul knew I would be able to cure myself. I would be able to heal myself. I have this power, but everyone around me was saying, no, you can't. You don't have that power. You need medication. If you're not on medication, you're hurting yourself. You need doctors. You need medicine. You need physio. You need splints and all these different things. Without it, you're nothing. And without it, you're not going to have a good quality of life. And without it, you're going to be in pain and miserable. I was always told you are nothing without these things that are outside of yourself. Your health will be nothing without this thing that's outside of yourself. My power was constantly taken away. And anytime I would question it or try to, I would be made to feel stupid. Like, well, that's unrealistic. You can't do that. It's unattainable. You're in a dreamland. And I was told that my whole life, when my soul believed that's wrong. I know that's wrong. And I was told constantly, no, we're right and you're wrong. Don't listen to that. There's no way that you're ever going to be okay. And there's no way you're ever going to be cured. In fact, you're only ever going to get worse. Even with the medication and the help from the doctors, you're still only going to get worse.
Do you genuinely believe that he genuinely believed what he was telling you?
The doctors?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were so trained that was my reality, that even when I would question it and I would be like, okay, but here's proof. I'm proof. I'm putting this in your face. They'd still be like, they'd look at me dead in the eye and say, no, that's not right. You have to do it like this. Or they'd refer to my chart and they'd look at a blood test number, like a number on my chart, and say, well, do you see this? That proves what you said to me just now is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm telling you I feel this way, they would be like, I don't care how you feel. Your blood test says you feel this way. They only looked at my chart. They never listened to me, ever. It was horrifying.
Well, I think the moral of this story is to
make sure you don't lose your power.
Believe in yourself and your own ability to heal yourself. Do not give your power
let anybody
away.
take your voice away either.
And
that's something I still struggle with.
Yeah, that's it's society. Do you want to know what? It's a strange one because there's so many angles you can talk about this sort of stuff with, but then you just go down so many rabbit holes. So it's like there's so many things that come into play. So it's just like, do you talk about it, or do you just work on healing yourself to make a better world? And that's where I'm starting to come. Sorry, I just got distracted by time's running out. We've got 10 minutes.
Oh,
it's okay.
Right.
Well, I know, like, as a kid, it was really hard to do what you're saying, and just keep your mouth shut and do your healing and do what you feel is right. Because when you're a kid, it's scary and you need answers from the people around you. You need support. You need to ask questions and learn and get the knowledge that you need. But if the people around you aren't supportive or hearing what it is that you want to express as your truth, that gets really, really hard. I'm living proof of that. I am 38 years old now, and I still have trouble expressing my full truth and saying everything I need to say, because I was constantly told, shh, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. No, that's not right. Just let this person talk because they know more than you do. And I was constantly feeling this bubbling up inside me that I need to express my feelings, but I was always told no and shush. So now, as a 38-year-old, I don't express things, and I have trouble with these kind of things, expressing my truth and knowing what's right for me, because I was always told I was wrong. So when you're an adult, you can make these decisions and be like, no, I know this is right. I have the knowledge. I've done the research on my own. And you can take the power into your own hands to do the healing and keep it to yourself and not express it unless people are coming to you asking you for help and answers and tips on what it is you're doing. But as a kid, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? It's hard to express yourself and get the answers without being told, no, you can't, or that's not how life is.
Like, Dana, listen, even what you just said brings up certain emotions with me from as a kid, you know what I mean, when you're not being heard. What was the pivotal point in your life, Dana, where you thought to yourself, enough's enough?
Yeah.
Like,
for all that with the addiction stuff in general, but I mean, it was more that I had that personality. I had a lot of emotional shit I was just suffering so much. I got to a point where everything fell apart. I'm talking like a job, relationship, family, like everything was literally falling apart at the exact same time. Like there's nowhere else. If I went any farther down, it was like really like rock bottom for me. Like I'm talking like I wouldn't have somewhere to live. It was gonna be that kind of level. And even my job was the biggest thing because I thought, oh, I'm a productive, functional person, right? As long as I'm functional, I'm good. Even though I have emotional issues, even though I have relationship issues, all that stuff. Unresolved things, from my childhood and stuff, and trauma. I was like, oh, I'm good, I'm still a function. I thought because the programming society, right? Oh, just as long as you work, right? You have to work, be part of society, right? They don't teach you to heal, they don't teach you anything. So I just think, hey, I'm still good as long as I can keep my job. Like that's my programming. I just think I'm okay. I don't need to deal with all these problems. I'm good. Hey, I can still. A lot of people can't even do that, right? So it was a rude awakening when everything literally like I was pretty much left with almost like nothing, you know what I mean? I could have gone lower, but I was like, how much lower am I going to go? And I was just suffering. I was just had so much pain, and I've almost lost my life on top of multiple times for that kind of stuff. And just putting and that just from doing that behavior itself, but also the bad situations, the people, everything was so it was so heavy. Like I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, something's got to give. I was like, and now I couldn't, the job I have I couldn't even. That was a big thing. That was kind of like shit. I'm not even functional anymore. I was like, damn. Not that I couldn't get another one, but that was just a big thing because I kept everything going for so long, and just all the emotions, the suffering, it's painful, man. It was painful. Man.
It is, because like Sarah was saying, especially when it comes down to childhood, because we had more of a connection to ourselves when we were younger, and that sort of gets slapped out of you.
My soul was gone. I think that was part of it too. Like I literally. If you even saw pictures from me, then you don't even know. I was completely different. Like I had no light. I was just like I don't know, and I was just like gone. I didn't have nothing. Nothing made me happy. Nothing was passionate about. Nothing. Everything was like the spark of light was like gone. Dark night of the soul. That was definitely a dark night of the soul for me.
It is dark night of the soul, and it's very real. This is what I'm saying. This is a spiritual warfare, and I think a lot of people don't really understand that there's good and there's evil, and at the end of the day, the devil works in mysterious ways, and he can get us to stray. He can lead us down certain paths that are very destructive, that are very, very, do you know what I mean? Just detrimental to our lives, without even us realizing it. And I think we can become blindsided by what we're doing sometimes just because of the emotional feeling that it's given us at that specific point in time. So it's like we have to really look down the line and to really just see what's best for us in the long term, because we're conditioned for the short term game, and that.
Yeah. It's all about the hustle, right? And like, that was my mindset, because I worked, I went to college, I did all that stuff, so I was like, oh, I'm just going to hustle my way through life. Who cares about the emotions? Who cares about addictions and stuff? I was like, who cares about my relationship issues, my parents, and that. I was like, oh, I'm good, I was like, as long as I can still hustle, and, but then when I realized, but everything's falling apart, my spiritual, my emotional, my mental, and my physical, everything was like shattered, and I was like, damn, it's obviously I'm not supposed to go in this direction. It was kind of like, I'm still spiritually in tune, even despite all that, I still get the downloads. I created Trailblazers of the Universe years ago, even when I was in that state, right? but I wasn't able to like make videos, and thank goodness I did record one. You don't want to see that, but I'm glad that never went on to YouTube.
Please put that up. That is so good.
You don't want to see it, man. It's you don't. I mean, maybe I'll send it to just you guys, but I think I would scare you guys probably. It was like a day after thing.
You wouldn't scare me. You'd be surprised what I've seen.
You would scare me. No, this is what it's about, man. This journey and just meeting people that are like-minded and that you can share your healing process with, and you can share like-minded conversations, because this is what I pictured when I wanted to start my YouTube channel, but it wasn't called Spiritual Needs TV. It was called the 1111 Movement, globally connecting spiritual communities. And that globally connecting spiritual communities, that come through a meditation. And that was it. That's what I wanted to do. That was my goal and aim in life, was to globally connect spiritual communities together through some sort of community. Then it ended up being my YouTube channel. But long story short is, you are constantly creating your own reality. You are constantly putting out into the universe. So just because something you've put out into the universe hasn't come instantly, doesn't mean within the next 5 years you will not be living in that. Whatever. It's just real. This vibrations, energy, it's all real, guys. And when you are, like I said, living in a flow, when you are living in your higher self and you're striving to become better every day, then things start to fall in line. Like when you are in alignment with the universe, I promise you, things will fall in line.
That's the thing about manifestation, right? Sometimes you can put out a manifestation and the universe is trying to give it to you. It wants to give it to you, but you are not on the frequency. You're not on that frequency of the thing you manifested. It doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean you won't attain it. It just means you need to make sure your frequency is matching that of what you desire. The moment you can get all of your frequencies in flow, you can link in with your higher self, you can connect, beautiful things start to happen. And it made me smile actually when Diana said she created the channel years ago when she was in that state, because it was almost like her higher self was like, this is for you to look forward to for later. This is something for your future. And she laid the groundwork for you, so to speak, to give you something to pull you out of that situation you were in.
So true. Right, Sarah, let's do the outro, girl.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you enjoyed our chat today, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Leave us a comment if you have any questions or you want to get in on the chat. We want to chat with you. We want to know how you resonate with what we're saying. Go ahead and give Cortez a follow on Spiritual Needs TV. Subscribe to that shit. Diana as well at Trailblazers of the Universe. And my name is Sarah. I can be found at Small Sarah Big Soul. And we really appreciate you guys coming and joining us.
Thank you so much, guys. We always have fun with you lot coming to watch. We love the support that you're showing us. And certainly go and check out these two YouTube channels. They're absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining us.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Stay beautiful.